Right, well, it's 8 o'clock, so time to get going. So, good evening and welcome to the sixth of the Navigators and General Coaching Debriefs from this Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series. We're slightly out of order, Simon, aren't we? But slowly getting there, and amazingly got all the races underway.
Yeah, it's great that Grafton have come back on board, and we've got looking forward to this Sunday's race. And the forecast looks pretty good. I think 10 to 14 knots. I heard earlier. So, yeah, great that we've got all the events in, all back on track, Sam.
It is, yes. So it's been a busy few weeks, but yes, now wall-to-wall events, and then the dinghy show in just over 2.5 weeks. So right, let's look at what was a fantastic Tiger Trophy. Some great photographs coming out of Tim Olin, and some quite interesting weather as well. I think we picked up the sunny ones here, haven't we? But not always sunny, was it?
No, it wasn't always sunny, and a mix of conditions. Certainly lighter on day two, and some great conditions on the Saturday. And broadly, although I think if you look on the wind track here, it looks a little bit windier than actually it was, and it was coming off from south, and I think probably affected a little bit of a breeze as we actually got down at the lake. So broadly, the first race was running around 10 to 12 knots ish, and then throughout race 2 and race 3, the wind gradually decreased to probably around 5 knots for the last race. And David Wilkins, who's on the call, actually wisely shortened the course before the wind dropped and timed that pretty perfectly. So yes, good conditions, Simon.
Yeah, it was. I think you say slightly marred by into the coming over the sort of clubhouse and southerly, but yeah, great to see your races. Right, I'm just meeting someone else. Right, back on. But yeah, nearly 100 boats. Nice to crack there. But what an amazing diversity of classes. I don't think we've ever seen such a variety with sports boats, keelboats, foilers, skiffs, hikers, trimarans. So yeah. Where else can you see such an eclectic mix of dinghies, even beyond the dinghy show?
No, exactly. And I think that's what's great, as we always say about the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series, is that, the versatility and the variety of boats. And it's all about getting those, dinghies that, necessarily don't go to championships in the summer. And it really, gets some great racing. And, like you say, where else do you get foilers, trimarans, challengers, SB20s, RS21s. What an eclectic mix of boats. Surely sets a little bit of a challenge for the race officer, who's got to fit all these boats in around the course. And certainly this weekend, or last weekend, sorry, with the sub liveries, it's certainly made a challenge in terms of the amount of space we could have with the geography of the lake.
Yeah, but great. I mean, we saw some of the new boats there, like the VX Air and the VX2. Saw a new old boat here. I think this is the Ghost, isn't it? Number 23 in there, which I think is. I don't know if anyone's on the call knows anything about it, but it's a bit of a new build of an old design, I believe. But again, great to see. Some quite exciting looking boats, aren't they?
Yeah, and again, absolutely, and that was a particularly beautifully varnished boat, wasn't it? It's great to see. Wooden boats, you don't tend to see a lot of them these days, and yeah, absolutely great to see such a variety. And at the opposite end of the spectrum, with the super modern foiling moths, doing speeds of just shy of 24 knots over a 20-second period, Simon, which is, in that breeze, 12, maybe 14 knots was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, I guess they would probably be seeing 30 knots on a burst speed, weren't they? We'll see some of that in a minute. But yeah, incredible speed and amazing the sort of diversity of it. Right. Okay. So.
Yes. So this evening, I thought we'd look at the masterclass from Tom and Rachel. The Garda effects start, which David Wilkins was chatting about, that the interesting fleet splits at this year's Tiger, which was subtly different to what it would be on a traditional Tiger Trophy. Looking a little bit about the domination of the moths in that larger breeze on race 1, And really the key to handicap racing and pursuit racing is traffic management. So a little bit of a look at that, and yeah, a little bit of a delve into the pursuit race, Simon.
Yeah, it's something for everyone, wasn't it? Right. So yeah, Tom and Rachel giving us a masterclass. And what I find amazing, looking at some of Tim's photos, they always are working hard, aren't they? One of the very few boats that always seem to be active, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should challenge Tim to find a picture of the guys not with their boat flat, because every single time you see them, their boat is, bolt upright, and that is, half the battle. I think if you can keep the boat flat, you can really make the handicap pay. And you struggle to find a picture with the guys not sailing it flat. So, they really did sail incredibly well. And have done throughout the series. I think they've won. They've won every race pretty much they've entered. Rachel and Tom predominantly sailed together, but Aaron Holman stepped in for one of the Christmas races, Simon.
Yes, at the brass bunkie, and I think actually Tom's going to have a rest next weekend, and we're going to see Aaron back again. So be interesting to see if they can carry on the winning streak in the Merlin.
Yeah, it's been a fabulous year.
Merlin have won every event, haven't they?
They have, yeah. It's been a fabulous time this year.
Except Bloody Mary, but
which they weren't in, to be fair. And I think what's important to note is this year that there's been a variety of wins. So the Merlin has been super successful across a variety of wind ranges, and I think that's important to note. So it's been sold extremely well across a broad wind range. And looking at their results here, the first race was 12th, and that I think they are susceptible to something, but I think they had a little bit of centerboard packer issue on the first race and couldn't point, which probably reflects why they were 12th, which is really interesting.
Right. Okay. So we're going to look at some of the starting. Obviously critical as per.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was really interesting, and I was racing in a 2000 at the weekend, and we sort of like looked at the start line, and poorly we didn't go down the pin end, because we looked down the line, and when we set a boat across the wind, it looked very much starboard end biased, and I think most of the fleet must have done the same as we did. So we didn't venture down the pin end, to be honest. We thought, well, this looks pretty much bang on starboard. That was our perspective as competitors, and also the windward mark was slightly to the right hand side, so we thought with a bit of corkscrew then we're going to go off the right hand side, but after an interesting conversation with David, he pointed out the fact that there was a 5 to 10 degree different wind on the other end of the line, and as we'll see a little bit later on, a couple of boats exploited that opportunity, but the majority started at the committee boat end, Simon.
That's right, and we see Luke Fisher, who's consistently up there, isn't he? Getting away on port tack, isn't it? Interesting.
Yeah, I think he must have set off on starboard then, because I think I saw him lining up similar place to us, and then flicked across, and I think that was one of the key things is if you're a slower boat in a faster fleet, you're looking to get clean air, and get away, and what was my strategy was to start on starboard, hold on to the lane as long as I could, and then tack off into some clean air because of the fleet split. Which
I think we'll talk about in a minute, won't we? But,
yeah. And yeah,
a bit of an unusual fleet split, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was interesting, and what you have to do is you're trying to make the two fleets as fair as possible in terms of numbers, and unusually there was less of the slower boats, 420s, Ilkers, toppers, and therefore it brought the faster boats down into the slower fleet, which is an advantage, I guess, if you're the fastest boat in that start, which incidentally is a Merlin, and no disrespect for Merlins, but certainly in my experience, when the 2000 has been the fastest boat in the slow fleet, we've certainly noted an advantage of that, because you can dominate the start. You can put the boat where you want, knowing that you are the fastest boat in that, on handicap, you're generally the fastest boat. And that makes a difference. And if you're not the fastest boat, it's not all doom and gloom. It's what can you do in that situation to get the, to make the best of the situation, Simon.
So a bit unusual to see Nilka lining up against a Merlin here, isn't it? In the D1.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, a challenge. But as I say, it's not all bad news. It's just a case of what do you do to succeed, and hence what are your options? Well, if you're a slower boat, certainly my point of view is I would be reluctant to hover, and I'd look for an opportunity of perhaps coming in late. Therefore, I'm not going to get dominated by a faster boat, and I can choose my gap wisely. So I might try and hunt on port and tack onto starboard, or I might try and come in late, knowing that I've got a bit of momentum and an opportunity to tack the boat should I need to. And certainly that's what I chose to do, is come in late on the committee boat end, hoping that the boat. So
is this you on the blue bow, is it, Simon?
Yeah, and our strategy here was let all the boats line up, and there's always going to be a little bit of leeward slip, and there's invariably a gap there, and our intention was to find that gap, sail over the line, and then if need be tack off. But here we managed to get the gap, and we could hold on a little bit longer.
And then we've got a sneaky blaze, haven't we? I think that's Martin Jones, isn't it, Ali?
It is, yeah. And it was. I was watching his track earlier, and it was interesting. And he did really well for probably the first half of the beat, and then just the faster boat sort of like came through. But yeah, he was proving the point that there was some bias on that end of the line, and is in clean air and can have a free start really. And I think, as David said, it's the Garda effect. It's start on port and get across to the right as quick as possible. And if you could do that, then that would be a great opportunity.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That was on the first video here, haven't we? Right. So this is the fast fleet. So this is the first off, isn't it? Now some great drone footage from James at the club.
Yeah, you can see the huge build-up here on the starboard end of the line. A couple of fireballs getting shut out, but the real interesting thing here is Alex in the Moth, who clearly has got the boat speed to do just that and give them a port end of the line and across. And he does a horizon job here.
I guess this is race one, isn't it?
It is race one, this, and with the breeze up, the Moth was able to foil all the time, and I think managed 5 laps to the.
Well, look at that. Yeah, so he comes in a bit late, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, and with a Moth, it's all about
trying
to keep it on the foil, isn't it? So you get a run up, and it's a time run in really, which he nails. Although maybe a little bit late, he's got it up and foiling and achieved the aim, which is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, try that one more time.
So down the bottom here, you can see there is a risk of coming in late and high, and you're going to get forced out here. And a couple of fireballs are not going to really muscle in there against the SB20. So you have got to be careful if you come in late, or if the wind shifts right, you are very, very vulnerable.
But yeah. He's away. Come back to him again in a minute, won't we? Right. We've got the slow float. Yeah.
So similar, all racked up on pretty much the starboard end. Nobody really venturing down the pin end. And interestingly, the best of the boats at the windward mark sort of like came from the middle, who had split it, which was sensible. A sensible option to get to the windward mark, because there was a band of wind at the middle which lifted you up on port. So the guys that could go in the middle and tack on to port about after a couple 100 meters sort of like got lifted into the windward mark. And if you'd gone right, which is where I went, it certainly when you came back across, it wasn't favorable and was a bit of a challenge. So best place to start, I think, was probably on balance the middle. I think you can actually
see. This is the one where we see Luke on port in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we come in here late on the bottom in our 2000, just coming in with a black main, and we can see there's a gap, able to keep clean air and then execute our strategy, which actually wasn't the right thing to do, as it turned out. But we had options, and we were just trying to mitigate the faster boats, really, and give ourselves an opportunity to have clean air, which was our sort of plan. But yeah, Luke tacks across, and he goes extreme right, I think, and has a reasonable beat. We sort of like didn't go quite as far, and didn't particularly work.
Yeah.
But really interesting. You can see the wind on the top of the screen here, and that's probably the different band of wind. It's quite dark at the top of the screen, and you can see that band of wind there, and that's possibly what most of us missed, an opportunity there to exploit. You can see the gust coming down now, and actually that's probably the windiest part of the course at the start of this race.
Yeah, let's see it there.
So, I think the moral of the story here is, even though you think it's starboard end biased, get yourself down the pin end and give it an opportunity and run the numbers through the compass. And yeah, certainly a good learning point for myself.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a fast boat race in the first one. Some impressive speeds, which we'll see later. We've got Simon Hiscott in the switch, which is a one design moth, isn't it? I believe. Isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, and interesting, the 5 laps versus 3 laps, and that's referring to the fastest skiff versus the moth. So the moth was 2 laps.
So we got the foilers in first and second. John O'Shelley, who he's a musto master, isn't he, in his own right? Mm-hmm. Only managing 3, but the moths were incredible. Even uncorrected, they were about 12% faster. I shudder to think what handicap they'd need to bring that down or whatever. But then wind drops 90, virtually last, weren't they? And
they were, inactive. What a difference a race makes. And I was looking at the corrected times, and it was some 7 minutes. It was an incredible time on corrected time. But
you need to be down about 300 odd, but then they'd probably be at top of speed for race 2, wouldn't they?
But if you're not foiling, and it is a handicap across the wind range, and very very interesting nevertheless.
Impressive to see. That's there you go. Right. Okay.
So really interesting in race 1, 2, and 3, and I think because of the fleet splits, there was lots of action at the windward marks, at the wind mark. And at the leeward Mark 3, and certainly I was in a slower boat, so really focusing on how I found it. Really, it was very challenging coming into marks, and you had to really plan ahead, which certainly from my point of view in the first race was a bit of a disaster. I seemed to put the boat in all the wrong positions, which is interesting, and you think you made the right decision, and actually it's the wrong one. So really, I think you have to think 2-3 minutes ahead of the mark to see where you're going to put the boat, which was really interesting. And because it was quite light, you had to set up for it quite early, because you couldn't get to where you wanted to be because the wind wouldn't allow it. Certainly in races 2 and 3, it was difficult.
Right. So it's some of your footage, isn't it?
So this is actually from the I think this is from race 3. There's not a lot of boats here, so it doesn't seem particularly busy. But the point here is there's an Ilka which is coming. We're coming into Mark 3 here. Clearly, Ilka has got right of way, so it's a case of what can I do as the outside boat. So again, here it's not all doom and gloom. It's just about setting yourself up for the next mark. So as we watch this back again, obviously we've agreed that the Ilka's got room, so I'm going to keep this as tight as possible, bearing in mind I've got to give the Ilka room to get around the mark, but I'm going to make him work for that. So we're going to drop the kite as early as we can and really try and keep as close to the mark as possible, and because with Y we can get a relatively strong rounding and keep super close to the Ilka. And the benefit here is, after a bit of hard work, I didn't run the video on there, the ilk attacks off. And the benefit of that for me is it means I can continue on towards the far shore. So you don't have to win the mark to get a better rounding almost. You know, I can still execute where I wanted to go. And we planned that a little bit earlier on.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And again, this second video, this is from the pursuit race, which you can see is pretty light, and we're surviving it. So just to windward, you can't see, but there's about 2 streakers, a couple of ilkers, and an Enterprise. So we've gone low to keep out of trouble here, to get down to this leeward mark. As we come into the leeward mark, we now need to get inside of the squib, the red sail boat ahead of us, and the snipe. So although we've got
these are slower boats. These are slower boats then that you're.
Yes. So we're catching these in the pursuit race now. So we've caught up. So we've gone past about 4 or 5 single-handers by going wide. We're now coming into the mark, and we're sort of like slingshotted it round. So we've gone low and then come up high in order to get around the squib. If we don't get around this squib, we're going to be stuck, because the day before we realized that there is no wind underneath the squib. So we've got to get inside here. And here we establish the overlap, which means we can get around the next mark. And we're just going to try and hold the boat, hold it together here. We're never going to get the 2 streakers ahead, but what we do need to do is get to windward of the streakers as we come around the mark. So, and you can see how light it is here. So nice slow round in here, and really trying just to get above those streakers without hitting the mark, super close, and then having a lane out of there. So, you know, what was a key thing here is it's just all about keeping clean air, really, and changing, you know, how you're going to attack the mark before you get there. So, you know, this is evolving all the time, but we probably planned this 3 minutes out to get there, because the boat's not moving very quickly. So it's not a case of just sailing and drifting around. You've got to think ahead. And in this situation, it went well. There was lots that didn't go well, but this one did. So yeah, key takeaway here is, you know, plan ahead, think of what you're going to do before you get there, and then realize you're in a melee. And there's no excuse really, because you're going so slowly in these conditions. You've got all the time in the world to set yourself up. Whereas if it's 20 knots, you've got less time to think.
I suppose one of the challenges, Simon, is you've got such different styles of boats here, haven't you? You've got a symmetrical boat there, a keel boat, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly if you're looking at a snipe, which has got a jib stick, they can point really high. So when you go to windward of a snipe, you've got to give them 3 or 4 boat lengths to windward, because they will luff you up if you're in a spinnaker boat. I realised that on the Saturday, there was no way you were going to get over on the tight reach between Mark 1 and 2. You couldn't get over the top of the snipe. You had to go to leeward of it, which was disastrous. It certainly cost me a lot of time in race 1. So I'd realised from that, and it's all learning setting every time you go. You need to give them a really good margin, so they're not going to be tempted to come and luff you up. So sailing extra distance in order to achieve your aim.
So you need to understand the characteristics of those. Well,
absolutely,
50 other classes, don't you? So
yeah, and of course, yeah. How often do you sail against those boats? Well, not very often is the answer. And yeah, so every time you do one of these events, you learn something new.
So yeah, I think we learned something new here. Now we're going to watch them off again. I don't know how many others spotted this, but certainly we saw it on the drone. So,
yeah, is this
must be race 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is Simon Hiscock's in the switch. So, you know, just amazing here, just weaving in and out of the boats. Look like they're going backwards, don't they? It's incredible. But yeah, this is between Mark 1 and Mark 2, I think. And here you can see the agitator for the lake, which was interesting and couldn't really be avoided. But as it happens, and the moth avoids it quite well. But certainly on race 1,
he wouldn't lift.
No, I can tell it. I can tell it goes straight in. I put a 2000 through there, and it just to the left of that, and it didn't end well. So yeah, it's to be avoided. So again, it's just thinking ahead, and after lap 1 of race 1, you have to pretty much just think about where you're going to position the boat. So you have to go low, really.
Yeah. So yeah, some unusual hazards, but again, we've got to be eyes open to all these, haven't we?
It is, yeah. It's just like putting the boat in a gust. It's just an obstacle, and you just deal with it. Nothing we can do about it. So we'll just have to race around it. And once you're aware of it, you can manage it.
Yeah. Right. And the Rutland bubbles. Right. So another day.
Yeah, so suit race. So a little bit of a smaller course, which was welcomed, I think, because reflecting on the breeze, the course size was ideal, and fundamentally, I think we got around close to twice, I think, give or take, not far off anyway, if I can reflect back. But yeah, we sort of like when we were in the clubhouse, it was around 8 knots, and as we started at 11 o'clock, I was out there watching Megan Pascal go off at 11 o'clock. The wind was very, it was on a downward spiral, and it was probably about 3 to 5 knots, probably about 3 knots actually, when the first boats went off, and so being a slower boat was possibly not a massive advantage because there wasn't a great deal of wind, and I think the wind started to fill back in again about 20 past 11, something like that. I think 2/3 of the way up, we started at 1/4 past, and I think about 20 past, I think the breeze started filling in and got up to around 8 knots again.
Yeah, so a brave effort from Megan, who led the race for virtually 3/4 of it, and I think then the Firefly trundled through, didn't it, in the streakers.
Yeah, but it was interesting with the Firefly because about 2/3 of the race in, certainly we passed the Firefly, the 2000s had, and we were chasing Megan, and then the wind switched off a little bit, and the Firefly just left the 2000s for dead, and Tom and Rachel came through in the Merlin, and actually we all ended up parked, I think, for about 20 minutes, nobody really going anywhere, and then thankfully the breeze filled back in for the last 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think the Firefly took a few faster boats occasionally, didn't they? So never give up, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the Firefly fantastically slippery in the light stuff, and just when you think you've got ahead of it, the breeze drops, and it was super well sailed, by the way, as well. The lads in it were great, and they definitely put up a good battle.
Right. Okay. Getting there. So as I say, quite incredible top speed was seen. So this was race 1, which was our windiest race, wasn't it? The foilers were flying, weren't they?
They really were, wasn't it? Amazing to see, and some great seamanship, really, just trying to navigate around the other 90-odd boats. They're doing 4 times the speed of everybody else.
Yeah, well, it's like a Formula 1 car, isn't it, going around the M25 almost, isn't it? But they kept that there. But but interesting to see the VX Air, which was well up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that looks a really nice boat, and certainly flew past us a few times, and yeah, it really got up and accelerated pretty quick. Yes,
and certainly Rob talking to him was super impressed. I mean, he is the builder, but super impressed with the boat, and doing well in the windier race 1, but also holding their own in the lighter stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. So crunch some of the numbers. So we're sort of 2 more events to go, but things are starting to shape. So we've got the Magic Marine extracted rankings. So these are based on every race. We discard every third race, so sort of rewarding consistency. So in the ladies, we'll look at some of them. We see Serena, who's been out of 3 events, moving ahead of the Ilka of Faith and Megan Pascoe up there. Great to see Serena moving to the top. Right, okay, and then it's a familiar boat, doesn't it, Simon? Got the youth rankings. I think this was Dachi, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a breezy one, Dachi. It was yeah, it's 20 to 25 knots, and very gusty, I recall.
Yeah, and this is, how old's Ben? He's 9, is he?
He's 9, yeah. So doing fantastic job in the 2000, and yeah, Ben and Sam are super tough to catch, I have to say.
Yeah, so they jumped top of the turners in the youth prize. Not Sam's obviously a past master, but great to see young Ben up there. And I think he'd been nominated for Youth of the Year or something, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Which will be awarded at the dinghy show. And interestingly, coming on the overalls in a minute, Tom Gillard and Rachel Gray have been nominated there. So several of the leading contenders in our Sailjuice series have actually been nominated for nationwide prizes,
which is great. And both finished 1st and 2nd, which was really interesting at the Tiger as well.
Yeah. So and I think, as Sam said, he's used it when he was selling his muster. Used this as his sort of training to win the worlds, isn't it? So I think, as you put out many times, this really is the creme de la creme of UK sailing.
It is, and I think, you know, as exactly the same as Sam. You know, what did, you know, when we were successful, why did we do it? We did it to keep you know, sailing in big fleets throughout the winter, ready for summer. So when you come to the first open meeting in your class in, say, April, you spent all your winter racing against big fleets of 80 to 100 boats, and when you've got 25 or 30 boats, you know, on your start line, it's a breeze, and you can deal with traffic, and you can deal with, you know, things that go wrong. And yeah, it's a great leverage to the start of the season.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So we move into the top 10. I think most people have worked this one out. Tom and Rachel have won again.
Yeah, they're pretty invincible, I think, Simon. Aren't they? They've won 4 events, and you know, look like back-to-back winners, really. You know, incredibly well sailed this year, as I say, across a whole, you know, wide range of wins. However, everywhere else, I think it's all to play for, Simon.
Well, it is, yes. Roger and Jamie have sort of moved up for 2nd. Gavin moved down to 3rd, but really, you know, we've still got 2 more events to go, and I think any of this top 10 could be up there.
Yeah.
I think Ben and Sam are turning up for the next 2 events. I think I've seen them entered, so it's sort of good to see them moving up there. But really, yeah, the rest of the top 10 is wide open, and I think the important thing is keep saying you've got to be in the events to be up there, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the secret to winning the Sailjuice Winter Series is you know, doing as many events as possible, and therefore, you know, every boat, you know, has its window of wind, and over an 8-race series, you're going to get an opportunity where your boat can perform, and you know, and yeah, the more events you do, the probability is in your favour to get a you know, a great result.
Right. Okay. Right. So this weekend we're heading to Grafton Grand Prix again. So heading to similar near to Rutland.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to that. I'm really glad that they put on the event after cancelling it due to cold weather over Christmas and New Year. So yeah, looking forward to that. And I think the forecast is looking pretty solid, 10 to 14 knots, Simon.
Yeah, looking cracking, I think, and double figures temperatures. So, sun cream on the ready, won't they?
Indeed, yes.
So we've probably seen that. They'll be running 2 courses here, so a slightly different variant. They normally run 3, but sort of flexing to sort of 2 courses with the fast, the cats, and the asymmetric on the fast course, and then I guess there'll be a big. I guess this was a medium fleet, wasn't it? Looking at it, Simon,
yeah.
Wasn't it? It was
Yes.
Phantoms and Aero, so there'll be basically that'll be a trapezoidal course, won't it?
Yeah. And it's sold out at the moment, Simon. You're running a waiting list at the moment, aren't you? I believe.
So yeah, sold out. So they've restricted the entry. So at the moment we're so that people can drop a line. We've got a few people will sort of drop out, but yes, you need to get you sort of make sure you let me know that you want to come, and we'll see if we can sort of fit you in. But yeah, so good to see that going ahead. And then we got the Oxford Blue the following weekend, which again is a popular one. And I think, as we said, a lot of the rankings will be settled then. So important to sort of go and get some scores on the doors, isn't it?
Yeah. So yes, come and spend your Valentine's Day with us at Oxford. We'll look forward to that, and then after that, Simon, we'll be at the dinghy show.
Yeah, got the dinghy show. So yeah, it's wall to wall now. So do come along to the prize giving. I think we present about 100 prizes. There's a fair chance that a lot of people on this call will be winning a prize. So do come, but it's a good chance to go through the series. We'll be sort of reviewing every event against Simon, looking at all the winners across the different categories, and such a great chance to sort of meet up with everyone, isn't it? The dinghy show. So I think a unique event in the world. There's nothing like it anywhere else.
No, I always look forward to the dinghy show. It's always great going 10 meters, and it takes you an hour to go 100 meters because you see so many people that you know and have a chat. And I think that's what's great about the dinghy show in general, is it's an opportunity to see lots of sailing friends and have a look around a few boats. So yeah, always look forward to that. But first of all, look forward to the next couple of events, Simon.
Yeah, so we've got Grafton Grand Prix, then the Oxford Blue, then 2 weeks' time the dinghy show. So great, look forward to seeing them. I don't know if anyone's got any questions or comments before we close the call off.
Yeah, Simon, just quickly, could you change my name? I've got 2 entries in there now, one under Christopher and one under Chris.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, it's a good point, because the extracted or the rankings are based on sort of your name and so forth, and your boat. So you need to be consistent. The computer sort of likes to see consistency. But yes, we will sort that out. If anyone sees any other discrepancies, please sort of drop me a line, and we can sort of sort them out and get it all ready. Okay. Well, thanks very much. I think just over the half an hour, Simon. We'll look forward to see a few at Grafham, and then a few more at Oxford, and then back to the prize giving at Farnborough.
Yes, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you all at the weekend in some champagne sailing conditions. you, guys.
Thank you, Simons.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Excuse me, please.